But let's look at how Antifa actually appreciated Inauguration Day. They ended up thanking Joe Biden by burning down the Democratic Party headquarters in Oregon. Like, when will everyone understand this? They will not stop. They said, we don't want Biden, we want revenge. For police officers.
This was so predictable. I think you called it. I think you actually called it.
I definitely called it. I said, guys, this is a boxing match where there's no referee. If you fall to the ground, they will keep beating you. There's no one to call time. They'll keep beating you until you're dead and everything you love is destroyed. They said, we don't want Biden. We want revenge for police murders, imperialist wars, and fascist massacres. This is the people you're dealing with. And once you recognize that, then it's like, okay, it's a different game we're playing. That's completely different. So if you thought this was going to be over just because, just elect Joe Biden, we don't want to see any more riots and Black Lives Matter, this is the result, guys.
I'll be fascinated to see how the Biden administration deals with this.
Well, you know what's funny, Ricardo? they're cracking down on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shock horror. Trump didn't.
I know. Well, this is the thing. Trump, he touted possibly bringing in the Insurrection Act, but he didn't want to do it because all of these states, they were actually in a situation where they would have come down on him and said, no, Trump's a fascist, this and that. So they were trying to bait him, so they just sort of let it go.
I think this is a replay of a similar strategy employed by the Nazis back in the 30s. There was the SA, which was Hitler's private army. They were the brown shirts.
Brown shirts, stormtroopers.
And they provided the muscle on the street to bring Hitler to power. But then the SA became a bit of an embarrassment because they were too strong. Ernst Röhm, who was running it, was getting a little bit too powerful. But Hitler, being Hitler, was a little worried because Röhm was a very loyal guy, but Hitler couldn't handle the fact that Röhm was was in his own right extremely powerful. And so one night when Röhm was out with his boyfriends having a wild weekend of sex, Hitler sent the guys around to take out the leadership of the SA and destroy the SA. The other motivation was not just simply because Rome was powerful, but because the military didn't want... The SA was actually larger than the military at that stage, the German military.
It was like 2 million people?
It was huge.
It was
I don't know the
massive,
exact
right?
number, but it was bigger than the reduced military.
Wow.
And the army was worried, and the army basically said, look, we'll back you, but you've got to take care of these guys. And so the SA was destroyed, the leadership was killed, and the SS was created. And so there was that transition. And so... history repeating itself, and that's the beauty about history. You read it, you watch it, you see what's coming, you look like a genius. No one believes you, of course. It's the curse of Cassandra. Cassandra was cursed with the ability to see the future, but nobody would believe her.
Yeah. What do you do? And this is the thing, we keep saying liberals, stop empowering the radicals. They're not going to eat you last. They're
eating each other now.
Right now. What was it? Antifa? You know, this is funny. Antifa at Berkeley University, they had this spray painted on the wall. I remember seeing it in 2017. They said, liberals get the bullet first. Well, this is what happens when Biden gets in control. The establishment, as I tried to say 1,000 times, let Trump finish his damn job. But no, you didn't let the bull run through the china shop. You killed the bull before he could do it. You helped usher him out. Then you got thrown out. Now they are boarding up the windows and the doors, and they don't want anyone to get into the ivory tower again. That's where we are. So well done. I don't think it's irreversible. I think we can reverse this.
Oh, nothing's irreversible. Nothing.
Absolutely.
Everyone should relax. We're going to talk more about Trump and the future shortly, but relax. Nothing's irreversible.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, but the reason why we make these points, guys, is because you look at the accuracy rate, and then you start to work out who you should actually be listening to. And once you work that out, you save a lot of heartache. See, how many times has the media lied to you guys, yet you still listen to them? I listen to them so I can tell you their lies. But you guys, I make it easy for you. I make it very easy for you. In honor of this historic inauguration, here's a beautiful mosaic of Kamala Harris made out of every prisoner eligible for early release that she tried to keep in overcrowded jails so California could exploit them for cheap labor as firefighters.
Now, that's just not fair, telling the truth like that. Honestly, come on.
She incarcerated, and we've talked about all these things, guys, 3,000 people for low-level drug offenses with marijuana. And because marijuana over there is classified as a very high level drug. Like it's up there with like meth and stuff, which is insane. So there are a number of people getting incarcerated over there. And, you know, I don't agree with marijuana, but the way that she was prosecuting it, and now she's saying she's for legalization. Now she's saying she's not hard on crime. She's actually always been hard on crime. In fact, the progressives call her Cop Kalama.
Well, it's almost like she's just following orders that have no consistent theme or internal consistency.
Or she's an opportunist. You know, it's hard to say. But I wanted to quickly run through, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on these executive orders, Ricardo, and what the repercussions are for Australia. On day one, as I said, Joe Biden as president, he's trying to rush through 17 executive orders that he signed. I'm surprised he stayed awake for all of them. I'll be honest with you. It was a very long day. Like, honestly, Joe, I said it in Arabic, haram, poor thing. I feel sorry for you. The length of the day, I'm just surprised you made it through it. I honestly mean that.
And he signed them on a desk the same size as his reputation and ability. Have you seen the little desk? He's on the little desk.
Yeah, they always do it like that. So the first executive order that was sort of signed, I think this is chronological, but it doesn't matter. They're all in the same time. It was an executive order requiring that people wear masks and keep their distance from each other on federal property. Now, he broke that half a dozen times within the few hours preceding that. But there is no, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no definitive evidence that masks work or don't work. We actually just don't know. There's no consensus. It doesn't matter what people say.
And there's certainly no scientific evidence that it works.
Exactly. Like, I mean, there's actually studies showing for and against, but it's just not conclusive. And that's a problem if you're going to mandate something like it's the truth and you're going to censor videos like ours, which we'll talk about later. Second executive order, the launch of 100 days masking challenge to encourage Americans to wear masks. Now, notice that's 100 days masking challenge. The reason he said that is because it's unconstitutional to mandate it across all the states. The Supreme Court would strike it down. So it's a 100-day masking day challenge. So it's sort of like
why? So the question is, why would you have an order that says you must wear a mask, but we're also going to have a please wear a mask program?
Yeah.
Now, there are implications for Australia here, but my take on this is quite simple. It's a measure of compliance, because that's one thing they need to know. Because when they know, like in Australia, when the nation is compliant, they can take the next bold step. If the nation is not compliant, they can't take the next bold step because the population is not ready for it. The implications for Australia are this. So that's that measure. How compliant are they? Yep. The same question here, because I received a phone call from a supporter. And let me just quickly dive into these two because they're both important. I'll come with the second one shortly. Perfect. Anyway, this particular supporter, Anthony, rang me up and said, it works. And I said, what? He said, the mask. I went into this shop and I said, they challenged me and they said it's compulsory to wear a mask. And the signs actually say it on, I think it was Coles. Yeah. It's compulsory to wear a mask, and it's not. It's not compulsory. It's not a law, and we've spoken that it is actually not based in law. It's an illegitimate direction. Yeah. But he said he followed the instructions, which were, I have a medical exemption, and they said, "What exemption?" I don't have to tell you. That's an invasion of my medical privacy. They said, "Okay." Now, I wouldn't ask anybody to do what I wouldn't do, because I did the same thing. And a big shout out to the people at Bunnings. Thank you so much. You were brilliant. We went in to get some paint and some light globes and a few things. I love my Bunnings time. It was one of the best shops on the planet. We were confronted halfway through our shop by one of the managers and said, "Excuse me, you have to wear a mask. Would you like one?" It was very courteous. "Would you like a mask?" I said, "No, we have medical exemption." And he said, "What exemption?" I said, "I can't tell you. That's an invasion of medical privacy." And he said, "No problem. Can I give you a sticker saying that you are exempt from wearing the mask?" And I proudly wore my exemption sticker as I went through Bunnings. Legendary. So there you go, folks. So it's a measure of compliance. Now, implications for Australia. I received another call this morning from another person almost in tears. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We had a long chat about that for about 40 minutes. And the reason this individual was particularly worried is because she was travelling overseas some 10 years ago and went to the doctor just to get some vitamins, some stuff to make sure she handles the trip well. And the medical professional at the time said, you should get now which one was it? Swine flu. You should get the swine flu virus as a prophylactic, just in case you're exposed. Yeah. The vaccine, not the virus.
Yeah, sure.
The vaccine.
Don't get the virus
swine flu vaccine. Well, you get one and the same.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Fact check.
Fact check that. You should get the swine flu vaccine as a prophylactic measure to prevent anything if you're exposed. And so she did. Well, the tale of woe over 10 years, autoimmune disease, narcolepsy, chronic fatigue, inability, and I can't remember the term, executive, there's a problem learning new things, particularly sequential issues. She has difficulty for 10 years of misery. Now, she went to the doctors to check out, is it any one of a number of other possible causes, and they came back and said, no, it's the vaccine. Yeah. So she's in tears. She said, what do we do? And I said, first thing is stop wearing masks. And she said, how does that help? Because if Australians wake up and stop wearing the mask, that's a message to the cabal and the treasonous politicians that we're not buying their nonsense. So they'll have to slow down their push for the vaccine. But everyone's wearing the mask. Have you seen it? The take-up is nearly 100%. And this gives them confidence that they can now push the vaccine because people believe it. So if we start taking off our masks, claiming a legitimate medical exemption, and as I said, one of the exemptions is anxiety, and anxiety is when you are dealing, this is the definition, you're dealing with a problem over which you have no control. So who does that cover? Work it out. Once we start taking off the masks, this has been one of those tangible steps to slow the vaccine issue out. And after that, we can start turning up in our millions and telling the politicians we're not buying this stuff anymore. So this is why you look at what they're doing and reverse it. Does that make sense? If you want to know what policies we should proceed with and in what sequence in terms of priority, have a look at what the other side is doing and reverse it. And if one of his first ones, one of the first 17, is compelling people to wear masks, our policy is get the masks off.
Yeah.
Correct.
Two of them actually.
Two of them.
So the next